Is there an offensive lineman available? Oh, well, Jackson Power Johnson. So, okay, let's
Yeah.
try to, out of the guys available, can we make a, I guess, kind of organize this big board? We
Yes.
got Cooper DeJean, we have the
Mhm.
highest.
Yeah.
Johnny Newton, I know that's your guy.
That's my guy.
Jackson Power Johnson, I'm not even sure we really expected him to be here right now. Thought it may be possible. Then you talked about the health issues.
Yeah.
Kool-Aid
And
McKinstry, I think we thought Kool-Aid, between Kool-Aid, Kingsley Suamataia, and Lab McConkey. I think we expected kind of those guys to be in this range.
yeah. So for Croc, for you, clearly it'd be Cooper DeJean here.
Yes,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
And
As safety. Now, if you and I we go and we report, they give us our credentials and we're out there for training camp, and I see Cooper at cornerback. Again, I won't hate it.
outside corner.
Yeah, outside corner. I won't hate it, but I would not love it. I love the thought of him being Palin Ramsey.
Yep. Johnny Newton would be my pick here. I like Newton. I think he's the best pass rusher. I think it's the most difference-making position as long as his medicals check out. I know he had the foot thing, wasn't able to work out. I don't need to see his workouts to know he's a dynamic playmaker inside as a pass rusher, as a defensive tackle, can hold up against the run as well, even though he's not like a nose tackle or anything like that. And then again, I'm trying to move up. If Jackson Powers Johnson falls, move up and get him. If Kool-Aid falls, move up and get him. If Cooper DeJean falls, move up and get him. If Kingsley Suamataia, much more likely, falls, go up and get him into the 40s, into the 50s, wherever that might be. This is really setting up to be a home run draft for the 49ers here with who's left on the board, because I really wasn't sure that any of these top four guys, Croc, would be available for the 49ers at this pick.
Now, I'm not showing the comments, so don't spoil it with
Yeah.
what they're saying in the comments. I want to see this pick live. Everyone in the chat right now, I am clearly behind you guys. Okay, it might be by a minute or so. So I'm not looking at you guys in the chat right now. There's actually, it says 100 comments that are in there. So there's 100 comments I'm missing because I'm clicked out of there. But I am excited to kind of see who the 49ers pick.
I can't wait for the 49ers to shock us. Do you remember last year, Croc? And I'm not going to spoil it for you. I'm looking at the chat. I might see it before you. But I'm going to wait until you see it, Croc, before we say anything about it. So, Croc, you get to announce the pick to us, right? As soon as you know what the pick is, you announce it to us. All right?
Okay.
Do your best Spice Adams that we're going to see tomorrow and announce what the pick is to us. And I think a lot of the folks that are watching might already know what the pick is, but I'm going to wait until you announce it. And I can't wait for the 49ers to shock us. I remember the look on your face and your response when I told you last year in round 3 that Jake Moody was the pick at 99. You thought I was messing around with you.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. That was
the funny thing, there were people that kind of alluded to the fact that, like, oh, they might take Jake Moody. You know, there were people like, oh, I want Jake Moody. I want Jake Moody. I'm like, dude, do not draft a kicker 3rd round. Just don't do it.
One of those 4 guys, the Niners can't screw it up. And the board has fallen really nicely for them here at pick 31. And offensive tackle isn't one of those players for me, Croc, right here. I like Kingsley Suamataia. I like some of the second-round options, but the tackles went early. It wasn't for the 49ers here. There's a couple of players I wouldn't be upset about that are maybe not, they're a little bit outside of what we're talking about here. Someone in the chat mentioned Leggett. I wouldn't be completely upset with Leggett. I think there might be a better option here. I think,
and he visited the 49ers.
He visited the 49ers, yeah. But I think the 49ers could, again, come up and get one of those wide receivers. They could draft a guy here, come up and still get McConkey. They could come up and get Leggett. They've got 3 4th-round picks. They've got a pick at number 94. The Niners have been terrible at the end of the 3rd round drafting players. They should trade pick 94 if they have to go up and get one of these guys. There's a ton of wide receivers that are still on the board, Croc. So
did the 49ers see, they didn't visit with Cooper DeJean, huh?
No, but this is part of my theory, Croc. They didn't visit with the guys they want to draft in the 1st round because they didn't want to tip teams off. They visited with the 2nd-round guys. Yeah. So either they're moving down or they're moving up to get one of those guys because they didn't they didn't want to tell the league the players that they were really eyeballing at the end of round one.
Especially when it's this late, because what is it for, I don't know, the New England Patriots to say, oh man, the 49ers like Cooper DeJean, or the 49ers like when he's got, let's move up, 4 spots and jump before the 49ers. Because we view it as, oh, it's the first round, and then, it ends after pick 32. But really, some of these teams, they only pick 4 more spots after the 49ers. It's nothing to move up 4 or 5 spots to jump in front of them. So I do see the 49ers pick is in.
The pick is in for the San Francisco 49ers, and I am going to let my esteemed colleague, Eric Crocker, break the news and announce the pick as soon as he sees it. I already know what it is. A lot of folks in the chat know what it is for the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, man.
At 31 in the 2024 NFL draft. And
I hate that I'm the last person that knows. I'm still waiting. It's a commercial break still, or whatever it is. What is this, Jeopardy? That's not even the Jeopardy guy I grew up watching.
You got satellite TV or something, Croc? You got one of those big old satellite dishes in your backyard or something?
No, I think if I had a satellite, I think I'd be on par with everyone else. I have Comcast Xfinity. It's supposed to be cable. You go from the wall to the box to the TV, and you're good. And now I think a lot of these things are going to streaming. So even with Comcast Xfinity, it's streaming. So I'm behind. I can't even do like live stuff with the 49ers watching the games because of this. I would be much better off if I had some kind of like big satellite dish or something.
So theoretically, Croc, before you know who the player is, can you tell me what in the big picture, zoomed out, what's a San Francisco 49ers player right now? What kind of a difference should a San Francisco 49ers player be able to make? Like, what are they looking for?
I think they're looking for a guy that can immediately help this roster. Like right now, the 49ers there's not a lot of holes. There's not a lot of guys that are going to come in and start for this team. But can you have a role and can you start? And I feel like there's very few positions where you can actually start on the team. This is not 2017. It's not 2018, where you could just come in and you can play. But here we go. The pick is in. See if they I know that's how far behind I am, guys. I apologize.
That's all right. Let us know, Croc, when you see it. Here we go. Pick is in for the San Francisco 49ers in the 2024.
They even got the guy that wears the helmet, the ring on his head. He's there. He's everywhere. All right. With the 31st overall pick in the NFL draft, 49ers select You know what that tells me, guys? Do y'all know what that tells me, guys? Brandon Ayuk's out of here.
Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver out of the University of Florida, is the pick for the San Francisco 49ers at 31 in the 2024 NFL draft. And I'm shocked. I'm shocked by this one.
So I talked about earlier, I had a mock draft, right? First round, I had the 49ers take the offensive tackle.
Yeah, Jordan Morgan.
Do you remember who I took second round?
You took wide receiver out of the University of Florida, Ricky Pearsall, in the place he should be drafted in round 2.
Well, that was where they allowed me to take Ricky Pearsall in the mock draft. Maybe NFL felt different around him. He's a guy who has solid size. He ran very well. What was it, 4.41? I believe he ran.
Yep.
He was a playmaker at Florida. I thought he was terrific at the top of routes. I felt like he was a guy that Kyle Shanahan would really like. He was one of the highest. He had like the third fastest, like 3-cone L drill. So that matched up. There were a lot of things that I felt like Kyle Shanahan would like about him. Now, spend a first round pick on him. I didn't quite see that because you do have the offensive line that people are, trying to improve on. My brother's calling me right now. My brother Donald, he's a Florida fan, so he's
Oh,
calling me because he must have just seen the pick. He must be as late and behind as I am. But but as far as why I said, oh, this must mean Brandon Ayuk is traded. I- I'm not saying he's traded because they drafted Ricky Pearsall. I just know the last time I felt like they did this was 2018 when they drafted Mike McGlinchey,
mm,
and they had McGlinchey, they had Trent Brown, and we were all confused because like, well, you got Trent Brown. Why would you
yeah,
draft McGlinchey ninth overall? And then the next day, a trade happened.
yep.
So
Overnight, like we might get that news overnight about a Brandon Ayuk trade, and there's some crossover in their skill sets, right, Croc, with Ricky Pearsall and Brandon Ayuk potentially, and how they played the game and in what position they would play for the San Francisco 49ers, maybe an X wide receiver. So Ricky Pearsall, 6'1", 189 pounds at the combine. He ran the 40 in 4.41 seconds. He had a lightning 10-yard split of 149, 42-inch vertical jump. I mean, he blew up the combine. He had a 6.64 3-cone. He had a 4.05 short shuttle, and even threw in 17 bench press reps. And Croc had the catch of the year, one-handed in traffic at the University of Florida, which no doubt Kyle Shanahan loved to see. I liked Ricky Pearsall. Thought he was a second round guy all day. I probably wouldn't have been surprised if he went in a few picks very soon. But I am pretty shocked right now, Croc, that the 49ers went wide receiver and it was Ricky Pearsall in the first round with the way this roster is and who was still left on the board at this point at the end of round one. Very, very interesting. And I agree with you, Croc, man. I think there's a very good chance that Brandon Ayuk, we hear by some point Friday morning that he's been traded.
I
Because I
I
can't
would
really see
not
how
be
this pick would have
surprised.
been made if he's if somebody's not on the move.
There's a lot of fans that are upset with it. This is not a pick to be upset with. I think here's the thing. Here's what I think I'm seeing right now. Because when you think of a receiver, playmaker, good hands, routes, and how he fits, like all those things align. But why would people be upset? We tried to tell you guys, don't reach for offensive tackle. We told you guys this whole time. And every time we talked about a different position, we would talk about a receiver or we would talk about a corner or whatever it is. What did everybody stop talking about those guys? The 49ers need offensive line. That's what we heard a lot. And the 49ers told us right now we have our entire starting offensive line coming back. And that doesn't mean that we don't want to improve on it. We just don't think anybody at 31 is the guy that's going to help us improve on our offensive line. So they went receiver with a guy that is very talented. Like he's good. I compared him, and not just because they're white, but or maybe because they're white, they just remind me of each other. Adam Thielen. Like if Adam Thielen, prime Adam Thielen, not the Carolina Panther Adam Thielen, but Adam Thielen, if you watched him on Minnesota Vikings and you liked him, that's the type of receiver you're getting right now. Like he's legit. He is legit. I just didn't know where he would go because
So
I haven't paid attention to a whole lot of draft talk outside of you and I talking and kind of getting a feel for where people going. So I didn't know he would go first round, but I mocked him to the 49ers in the second round in my draft that my mock that I did on social media today. Like this is not a guy that is not talented. Maybe drafted 14 spots earlier than you would expect.
yeah, no, that's well put. That's a perfect way to put it, Croc, is uh I don't dislike Ricky Pearsall as a prospect, as a player. I liked players better that were still on the board, but Ricky Pearsall's a good player, a good wide receiver, and a good prospect. And rule number one in the NFL draft is to draft good players. I think the biggest surprise of it all is that I think it might speak to something else, as Damon brings up here. And I appreciate the super chat. Is it official that BA is gone to Washington? I don't know where BA might be going, but I think that's a whole lot more likely than it was 10 minutes ago that Brandon Ayuk is going to be traded for them to take a wide receiver in round one here, and really not one that we saw coming. So, yeah, that's a fascinating pick to me. A really good player, and as long as they hit on him, it's fine, right? There was players I liked more than Ricky Pearsall, but Ricky Pearsall is a good player. And by the way, Croc, a player that I identified a long time ago that was a receiver that Kyle Shanahan was going to like. I did not expect him to draft him in the first round, but I put out a tweet, and let's see if I can even find it here. It might be the only time I've ever tweeted about Ricky Pearsall, so I'm just going to look up Pearsall because I want to find how I worded it, because this is the third time, Croc, that I've nailed a Kyle Shanahan wide receiver.
You did. You
Whether-
said it.
Whether or not I agreed or not, I'm pretty good at understanding receivers that Kyle Shanahan likes now. And let's see if I can find it here. This was my tweet on March 13th of this year. I nailed the Debo and Ayuk as Shanahan wide receivers pre-draft. The three guys to look for in 2024, if they make it to late round 2, are Malachi Corley, Ladd McConkey, Ricky Pearsall. Those are the receivers I thought Kyle Shanahan would like. I just thought he was going to take him around later than he did. He liked him so much, he took him in round number 1.
Yeah, that's it.
He's got speed. He's got ball skills. He's got toughness. He's got okay size, 6'1", 190. But a pretty shocking pick, Croc, overall.
I think because now here's the thing. You us, right? Like just either fans of football, we don't have the privilege of knowing where guys have these guys slotted. And what did John Lynch say? What did he say in the thing? We don't care where everybody else has a guy. If we like him, we draft him. Like he just said that 2 days ago or yesterday, whenever that was, whenever he was speaking. He let us know, okay, we like Ricky Pearsall. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to draft him. I'm curious to see what this means for Brandon Ayuk.
Croc, question in the chat. Do you have a NFL player comp for Ricky Pearsall? And while you think about that, I am going to read a tweet from Mike Silver about the San Francisco 49ers following that selection of Ricky Pearsall in round 1. Michael Silver, who's as plugged in as anybody, says, based on my conversations with other teams, the 49ers are now more likely to deal Debo Samuel than they are Brandon Ayuk.
Wow.
Stay tuned. So maybe Debo back on the trade block for the 49ers unexpectedly. Something's going down. Someone's getting traded before tomorrow morning. I really feel that way right now with this Ricky Pearsall selection. And Croc, of course, we're going to go deep dive on Ricky Pearsall. Those podcasts will be up on Locked On 49ers. Croc, we're about to go jump off this stream and go record an episode of Locked On 49ers. For everybody that's here with us, I'm going to put a link in so you can join us over there, and we can finish the Ricky Pearsall conversation over there. Did we finish the first round yet? Has there been a selection by the who was, I don't even remember who was, it was the Bill. Oh, so the Buffalo Bills have moved out again, Croc. The first round is now officially over. Buffalo Bills have moved out of pick 32 after already moving out of 28 to pick 32. And it was the Carolina Panthers who moved up one spot from 33 to get back into the end of the first round. And they drafted wide receiver Xavier Legette out of South Carolina, which, Croc, apparently the Niners didn't like their 30 visit with Xavier Legette because they went ahead and drafted a different guy and drafted Ricky Pearsall instead.
Yeah, and if you would ask me, like, hey, who do you like more, Legette or Pearsall? I like Pearsall more.
Really, a more complete game.
And there were a lot of people that really liked Legette. I like Pearsall more.
People compared Legette to A.J. Brown. And while he's built like A.J. Brown, he plays more like DK Metcalf.
Here's the thing. When you're looking at these prospects, I always try to go off of how I feel in the moment while watching them. And A.J. Brown in his class was arguably 1, 2, or 3, like in that moment. So when you're saying, oh, he plays like A.J. Brown, okay, he could play like A.J. Brown kind of, but is he A.J. Brown? And as a prospect, and we're talking about as prospects, as a prospect, he was not AJ Brown. Like he was someone that it felt like you're not in that AJ. Now he went earlier than AJ Brown, but for whatever reason, receivers kind of slid. You had Hollywood Brown go, you had N'Keal Harry go, and then you had Debo and AJ, and then eventually DK, which I had DK, Debo, AJ Brown all kind of lumped in. So it's always interesting to see how the draft goes,
We won't talk about Hakeem Butler.
or Riley Ridley.
Yeah.
But with those, with specifically Debo, DK, and AJ Brown, I remember what it felt like just watching them, and it's like, oh, these guys are different than these other guys. And when I watched Leggett, I never got that feeling. So you can say, oh, he's kind of like these guys or whatever, but he's not AJ Brown as a prospect, even though he got drafted ahead of where AJ Brown went. At least in my opinion, on paper for me.
Ricky Pearsall, that's the pick for the San Francisco 49ers. And round one of the 2024 NFL draft is in the books. Some really good players still on the board that the 49ers could go get in round two. Make sure you tune in to Croc's channel tomorrow. I'm going to put the link right now in the chat for Croc's channel. And you can find it on youtube.com/@Crocky209, right, Croc?
Yep.
That's Croc's channel. We're going to be talking Niners on round two tomorrow there. And I'm also going to drop the link to Locked On 49ers, which we are about to leave this stream and go do that program right now. So please, everybody, follow us over to Locked On 49ers. More on Ricky Pearsall, more on the wild first round that we just witnessed in the 2024 NFL draft. Croc, I appreciate you jumping on. OT with BP. We went overtime for almost 3 hours here. Appreciate everybody who joined us in the live chat. Had a whole lot of fun. We're going to try to come up with some comps and envision how Ricky Pearsall fits in with the San Francisco 49ers in just a few minutes here on the Locked On 49ers podcast. So please join us over there. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel before you go, and then like and subscribe when you end up over at Locked On 49ers. Just give us a few minutes to set up, and we will be doing it up right there. Appreciate everybody going overtime with us here. OT with BP. Make sure you join us, Locked On 49ers. The link is right now in the chat, and we'll see you over there in just a few.